I've always known that the Ball Watch Company was good, but I never really gave them any attention. Kind of like Rado or Mido, I knew it existed, I knew the quality was there, but there's just so many goddamn brands that I never came around to having them on my radar. A lot of what I'm exposed to is based on whatever the YouTube algorithm showcases, and unfortunately Ball watches aren't usually on the list. Does that make them an underdog? Who knows? I can't speak for everyone, but I do know that I've been sleeping on them. And moving forward, I want to put more focus there as I continue to add to my degenerate collection. I'm at a stage where I don't need crazy unique watches, but I do want things that are slightly different. Just different enough to not blend in with everything else the algorithm pushes out. And that's one of the main reasons why the Ball lineup is resonating with me. For the most part, they've got the classic frame and build of a familiar watch, but the superficial details deviate from the mainstream style just enough to stand out. This Fireman model is a good example of what I'm talking about. For all intents and purposes, this is a typical three-handed watch that does typical three-handed watch things. But there's just enough of a departure from the same old thing to stand out when you take a closer look. Straight off the bat, the two-tone bezel is really something else. This is the first time I've seen a bezel executed this way, and it looks sharp as hell. It adds both a visual and physical complexity without coming off as gaudy, tacky, or too decorative. Everything else is pretty straightforward, but there are just enough hints of branding to remind you this is more than just a run-of-the-mill watch. Taking a closer look, you'll find the RR logo on the second hand, crown, and clasp. Just like the bezel, it's there, it's impactful, but doesn't get in the way. It's there just enough to be cool without being invasive. For those of you wondering, RR stands for Railroad, and became the Ball Watch Company's official war cry, if you will, to signify that their watches are rated for railroad standards of accuracy, which was essentially like the 1900s version of COSC. For the dial, it's funky. I don't know who the hell made the executive decision to have the day at 3 and the date at 4:30. It almost seems like a factory defect, and they decided to just roll with it because, to my knowledge, none of the other Fireman models have this. I haven't decided yet if this is a design quirk that gives the watch character, or if it's a design flaw that looks retarded. But is it worth missing the forest for the tree? The rest of the watch is so clean that I think I can look past it. Overall, it's got a great style that gives you all the good things about gold without being garish in any way. Anytime you see gold, it's immediately followed by silver, and the silver sunburst dial balances out everything well. You gotta love that side profile too. At 40mm, it's larger than your conventional dress watch, but the case height is pleasantly slim, which helps mitigate the larger size. I find that the thinness also makes the underside more impressive too. I enjoy these decorated movements, and seeing such a complex little machine stuffed into such a thin case magnifies an intangible feeling of quality. For the experienced collectors, I understand that this is an Ebosh movement, and there's nothing overtly special here in the spectrum of complex movements. But I still consider an automatic movement of any kind a feat of ingenuity. And hey, if it looks good, it looks good. While I consider the two-piece, two-toned bezel as the piece de resistance, I'll say the secondary star of the show is the tritium lume. The fact that this watch outputs light continuously will never not be cool to me. It's easy to overlook because it's hard to capture on film and photographs, but I'll tell you what, when I wake up at 3 in the morning in a dark room, and I go to the top of my dresser and I see this watch glowing like a beacon, there's nothing cooler than that. Unfortunately, this ain't a cheap watch, not by any definition. MSRP is $2,400 and street price is around $2, so there's no getting around the fact that it's expensive. The brand has a lot of heritage and you simply can't put a price on that kind of degeneracy, so it all just depends on what your priorities are. Sometimes buying an expensive watch is just an enjoyable thing to do, because why the fuck not? I'm not here to make these life choices for you. I'm just here to enjoy mindless consumerism because nothing in life is more important than stuff. Anyways, that's just a whole bunch of words to just say, I like it. That is all. Stay classy. I sure as hell won't.